All right, so welcome everyone. It's an important topic today. We're talking about microplastics. Um, Basically, what we're doing is we're trying to identify everything in our environment that could be toxic, and we're going to take each topic at a time. So today's topic is microplastics. As we know, we're surrounded, in our life by plastics, whether we want it or not, right? So why did this microplastics become a toxin? Like when did this happen, right? Basically, what we're talking about is microplastics is, why is this my PowerPoint not working here? What are microplastics, right? These are any fragments of plastic that are 5 millimeters or less. So if you look at the point of this pen, that's less than 5 millimeters. So we're anything less than that, probably our eyes can't see. So these may range anywhere from nanometer sizes to millimeter sizes. So it's a byproduct of plastic pollution. So why do we even want to talk about it? Number one reason being they're one of the big toxins that go undetected because you can see them, you can smell them, you can feel them, but they're still all around us. And they're highly responsible for causing inflammation. And the other thing they're responsible for is for disrupting the normal functioning of our regular hormones. And as we know, there's plenty of hormones, but we're mostly focused on our major hormones, right? Like cortisol, insulin, estrogen, progesterone, thyroid. These are the common hormones that get disrupted because of endocrine disruptors. And plastics has been identified as one of the biggest ones right now. All right. So here's a picture that shows you where plastic can go in our bodies. And this is actually pretty revealing. So if you look at it, let's focus on one thing at a time. What does cardiovascular system mean? This is our heart system, heart and blood vessel system. When plastics get into there and they start sticking to each other's particles, they can cause blockage of blood vessels. They can also cause thrombi. Thrombi means a clot. And these clots can be detected in veins and heart. Like, you know how when people say, oh, there was a big clot in his heart, and that was the reason why this person felt like, they said he had a clot in the heart, and that's why he had a heart attack. Well, now those clots used to be purely just from blood clots. But now we are detecting that there's other particles as well that are capable of causing these clots, one of those being microplastics. And think of it this way, right? These are sticky particles. So they can stick to each other or they can stick to other sticky inflammatory particles inside the blood. So we want to make sure that we're constantly in a phase of cleaning and cleansing them. If they go in our skin system, you can have, like skin rashes, your hands can get dry, you can face hair fall, or they can actually even be detected sometimes in our saliva. This is most important, the digestive system. Digestive system is the second brain of our body. It's like a whole ecosystem in there. And in the digestive system, microplastics have been shown to increase risk for colorectal cancer and cause liver damage as well. They may get into your gallbladder system too. As far as lungs is concerned, yes, there have been found in our breathing as well. And then the other thing is our lymphatic system. So let's understand this part well. Veins and lymphatic system are two circulatory systems of the body where liquid flows through. So lymph flows through lymphatic system, blood flows through the artery and veins, right? So anything that gets in our organs is circulated through our veins and lymphatic system to another organs. That's why I'm saying if it gets into one organ and then it gets into a circulation, it can be transmitted to other organs as well. Oops, sorry. This is the big one, endocrine system, meaning our hormonal system. Now, we also have found that it can cause placental barrier in pregnant women and can be transmitted through placenta into the baby as well. Okay. Other reproductive organs, I'd be worried about mainly testicular system because it has been very shown that a sperm count gets low if microplastics are disrupting endocrine system in the testicular area. Sometimes it can cause kidney stones, rarely, but that's possible. It can cause urinary bladder irritation though. So this side here just says, what different names are there for plastics, basically. And this is the size I was talking about. It's 0.1 nanometer. That's very, very, very micro, to even micromillimeter. That's the kind of size these particles can get as low as and start sticking to each other. All right, so I'm going to go to the next slide. Again, how do they get into us? Contamination, if you're using a plastic bottle, right, for drinking, there it goes. Gets ingested, crosses the gut barrier, enters your bloodstream, may spread to your brain. You can inhale them. Same thing here too. It can cause the blood-brain barrier, meaning it can get into your blood through your blood into all the way up to your brain as well. Another figure to just show what all it entails. I know this is a busy slide, but the more and more slides I'm showing, basically it's just telling you that more and more research has been done and more research is being done. So people are pretty serious about this topic right now, and rightly so. So let's take one system at a time, simple things. What has research shown? If microplastics are going to get into your heart system, what can it cause? The ultimate risk is a heart attack and a stroke, right? Then blood clotting, increasing inflammation, also causing blockage of blood vessels. So we need to be careful about those things. Next, GI system. The most dangerous thing I would think obviously would be the cancer, but the most common thing is this, disrupting gut microbiome and causing. So if you think, oh my goodness, I never had allergy to avocados before, but now I'm feeling so. Or I used to be able to eat citrus just fine, but that's not happening anymore. So the reason why this happens is the reason why we start developing new allergies. This is because of disruption in our gut microbiome. What is microbiome? The healthy bacteria in our gut system, right? So anything and everything that can disrupt the gut microbiome is going to start pseudo allergies. I see this happen in our practice so many times that people are coming in, they're coming through a number of allergies they're not aware of. And after we go through the detox, all of their allergies go away. Why is that? Because we're focusing a lot on re-establishing our gut microbiome and removing all these endocrine disruptors. Again, IBS is getting pretty common, inflammatory bowel disease, like Crohn's, ulcerative, or just having, alternating constipation and diarrhea. It all springs from the gut microbiome. So let's just focus on improving the gut microbiome by removing these toxins and rebuilding the gut. Reproductive health is important. Some of us are really worried about this thing. So microplastics have been found to cross the placenta and can be like, there's a study being done right now to see if there's a link to premature birth. But the most important thing we need to understand is, how it's affecting male health, because male health is directly related to testicular health. And that's where one of the organs where microplastics can get into. Very busy slide, but basically telling the same thing is, if it gets in your brain, what can happen? Brain fog, or forgetfulness, all the way up to cognitive decline, or even dementia. So there's studies being done for that as well. How does it get into the brain? Through the blood system. As simple as that, right? So how does it affect the brain? Basically, it goes directly into your neurons. I'm kind of moving the cursor around there, meaning these are the brain cells, and it impacting development and functioning of those cells. Then they can cause disruption in memory, learning, social behavior, depending on what age you are in. If it's a child, then we're also worried about why are they having ADD or why their focus so off. Or if it's an adult, can adult-induced ADD happen from there? Or if it's an older adult, do we see a cognitive decline because we're evaluating dementia a lot nowadays. So why is this getting more and more common? So we need to focus on that as well. Any questions so far? I'll take any questions for a little bit. You can put your questions in the chat, and then I'm going to move to the next topic, which is how we can reduce our exposure. So pitch in, unmute yourself if you need to. Questions, anybody? No questions? Okay. All right. So the next part, Michelle's going to take over, and this is going to be interesting, is how can we reduce our exposure and how can we help in day-to-day life. But in a nutshell, before I move on, is no matter how much exposure we have, right? The detox is very well designed to help us reduce our risk. But that's not all. We have to reduce risk from all directions. So as you know, risk mitigation is very important, but also reversing what we already have, that's equally important too. So with that being said, I'm going to hand over to Michelle. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have
Hi.
over here,
Yeah.
this we can move through the slides.
Got it. Where's the map? Just want to can you guys see me because I can't see myself anymore? Where's the
If you click on there and click on this big window.
Oh, cool. Okay. So as long as I stay here, I'm okay. All right. Hi, everybody. Microplastics. It can be scary. I know. We're just going to talk about some practical ways. Obviously, everything I say, you don't have to go out and do every little thing, but we're kind of just trying to narrow down where we might be exposed the most to microplastics and maybe some simple swaps that we can start doing just to put ourselves in the best position possible to actually reduce some of our exposure to these. And it's interesting because I only started hearing about microplastics in our bodies and what it does to our bodies in the past year or so. Before that, it was always like microplastics in the ocean. That's what I've been hearing for a long time. Like, how do we reduce, recycle, get rid of the plastics in the ocean? And I think the research is fascinating in terms of what Dr. Patil was talking about, how it really affects our bodies and so many ways that we're
He's finishing
this
in 3.
don't even know.
Over there and just press the mute button.
Okay, so I've kind of broken it down into 3 main areas that we can try to focus on to reduce some of our exposure to these microplastics. And not surprising, the number 1 area that we can focus on is probably in your kitchen with exposure to the tools that you're using, the foods that we're eating. So we can go through this kind of one by one. Number 1 thing, and maybe the easiest to do, is avoid eating with plastic plates and cutlery. That also means plastic Tupperwares. So we'll get into that also. But if you're at home and you don't mind washing some dishes, definitely use your regular plates, regular cutlery. We'll talk a little bit more about on the go in a few other slides, but we can use a lot of different materials in terms of disposable or on the go that don't include plastic. It takes a little bit of research sometimes to figure out what the best options are, but anytime we're putting our food on plastic and cutting with plastic, we think about it. If you're on a plastic plate, you got a plastic fork and knife and you're cutting your food with it, that's just
releasing
lots of microplastics onto your food, which you're ingesting instantly. So if I was going to prioritize, that might be one of the number 1 things that we try to focus on. The next one is swapping your kitchen tools that you currently have in the plastic version for metal, wood, or silicone. I did an inventory of my kitchen, and not only do I have way too many tools, but so many of them were plastic. There were meat mashers and spatulas and things like that, and cutting boards. I grew up in a house, I don't know if this is like an Italian thing, but we literally had 3 tools. It was a wooden spoon, a metal spaghetti spoon, and a metal spatula. So I'm trying to go, we had 20 wooden spoons, but still they were the wooden spoons, trying to go back in that direction with wooden spoons and cutting boards, and then some metal and silicone tools instead of the plastic ones. Avoid foods stored in plastic containers at the grocery store. This one can be tricky because I know a lot of times we're at the store, we have to get something. Sometimes we don't have an option. It's going to come in a plastic container. Just make sure we're washing it well before we take it home. Or if we're able to go to the farmers markets and things like that, where the food is just kind of out on the tables instead of where it's neatly packaged in plastic at the store, trying to make some of those swaps as much as possible as well. We talked about replacing your plastic cutting boards. Filter your drinking water too. A lot of us have those refrigerators that have the filtration system, or even if you're able to get a filtration system for your tap, there's a lot of microplastic that is just naturally found in not only the ocean waters, but in the water that's coming into our house as well. So filtering the water that we drink is a big part of trying to eliminate that. This one I didn't really know. The next two were kind of surprising, but even just doing your own research and learning these things, avoid canned food with plastic liners. So a lot of times now I'll look for canned, I don't know, tuna or something like that, and it says BPA free or something on the can itself. So you know that those foods are being placed in those tins or canned containers without the use of those plastic liners. It's probably a trend that we'll see a lot more in stores like Whole Foods and things like that as we move forward. And this was a huge one, and this was all over the internet too. Swapping tea bags with loose leaf tea. For some reason, your tea bags have a lot of plastic particles.
A ton of microplastics. So there are certain tea brands that we would send you guys an email after after our session is done. Is ways to change those. So we'll put it all together for you. There's only a very few tea bags that are plastic free, but ton of these are everybody has microplastics. So
how about coffee pods? Do they also have microplastics? This is Gokul.
Hi Gokul, what did you say?
Coffee pods. Do they also have microplastics in them?
Coffee pods might. I'll do my research and let you know, but the answer is most likely yes.
That's a great suggestion. Thanks. We'll definitely look at that one too.
Yes. Yep. And I will look into which coffee filters are better as well for coffee machines.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay. Then other areas of the home, just some tips for reducing plastics. Something that I found interesting was choosing natural fabrics when it comes to your clothing, your sheets, things like that. Cotton, linen, and bamboo instead of polysynthetic or fabrics. A lot of times when we are wearing or washing our clothes that don't have natural fibers in them, it's shedding constantly those microplastics in your laundry. If you're flicking your laundry around the house, they could go all over the place. So choosing natural fabrics and sometimes even changing your laundry routine. It was suggested to wash clothes less often, which obviously I cannot do. I have children. I wash clothes literally all the time. But if you're picking natural fabrics and using cold water more instead of hot water for the less dirty loads of laundry, that will reduce shedding of plastics from your materials. Dusting and vacuuming regularly, not something that you would really think of in terms of plastics, but it loves to hide and accumulate in dust. So regular cleaning obviously helps reduce your exposure around the home to microplastics. Choosing more natural cleaning products. I think we've been hearing a lot about endocrine disruptors in cleaning products, especially when they contain harsh chemicals. They are also riddled with plastics, which is probably not surprising. And then look for plastic-free or more natural cosmetics. I don't know if anybody remembers, but it was like all the rage years ago where we would wash our face with an exfoliant, and the exfoliating portion of it was microbeads of plastic. Microbeads of plastic that just go into the drain all over your body. Not the best option. And actually something that I didn't put here, but I did check out in the research, dental hygiene products are some of the most.
Something as simple as dental floss and your toothbrushes.
I'm
so happy you picked on that.
A natural type of dental floss, or they have like silk dental floss that's coated with wax instead of anything that contains plastic in floss and toothbrushes, because when you think about it, that's going directly into your mouth and rubbing on your teeth, so you're digesting that very easily.
There's certain toothbrushes, and again, I will be sending out all of this, that are made literally from bamboo fiber or neem or natural products like those. So we will be sending out a list of that after the seminar, after this group session. But the thing is, start thinking and start looking around.
which is what this is designed to do. I mean, obviously, I don't know every single thing in your life that contains plastic, but I think this is a good place to start just in terms of thinking about your exposure and being more aware of the products that we're using. And then plastic-free life on the go. This is one of the other areas where it's extremely convenient for us to reach for plastic and have it in our lives all the time. But if we're just thinking about different ways, I bring my lunch on the go all the time, and I actually did convert almost everything from plastic either into glass containers with lids or metal lunch boxes for my kids. Any type of, I have literally never leave home without my Stanley. I've been using maybe metal straws instead of plastic straws. I don't know if I even said this in the other slide, but never warming up our food in plastic containers. So if we're taking meals on the go and are trying to warm it up at the office or somewhere else, making sure those are in metal containers. Also, the first point here, which is a big one too, I hopefully try to remember this, but not only your reusable grocery bags for all of your groceries when you go to the store, but I have also invested in a couple of mesh baggies as well for produce, because I try actually not to use the produce bags at the store as much as possible because they're plastic. And when I'm going to the farmer's market and things like that, sometimes they have plastic bags that you can put your apples and your fruits and everything in, but I've been trying to bring my mesh bags as much as possible, just to, again, reduce some of the little touch points of plastic in our lives. Carrying around your own plastic-free water bottle and refilling it, trying to eliminate single-use bottles of water using your metal straw or coffee cups. I've seen people do it all the time. I don't go to Starbucks like very often, but people will pull up to the window and hand the Starbucks barista their own cup, their to-go cup, and they put their drinks and their coffee in there. I keep like silicone or metal straws on hand to avoid single-use plastic straws. And really, bamboo is a great option for cutlery on the go. There's things called lunch bots that are these like cute little metal bento lunch boxes that have, compartmentalized areas. If you like to keep things separate, if your kids like to keep things separate, there's a ton of options out there for safer packaging instead of plastic. So easy swaps to make. That is, oops. Back. And here's just some pictures of what we've been talking about. The reusable plastic-free water containers, metal straws. These are those nice mesh, washable, reusable produce bags. The glass food containers, and replacing plastic utensils and cutlery with the good old-fashioned wood and glass storage containers in your house.
Yes. Questions, anyone? Any questions? So one more thing I want to add again is no matter how much we're exposed to, right? There should be, our body has an elimination system. That's the whole point. And cleaning and keeping up with our elimination system, our liver and gut system, our liver gallbladder system, our kidney bladder system, our circulatory system, our gut system, all these are our elimination system. They're very naturally designed to filter toxins and put them out, right? That's the whole point of a detox, is how can we keep our elimination system optimal so that no matter how much we're exposed to, it shouldn't accumulate in the body as a toxin. So again, over and over again, you'll find me saying, even in your personal appointments too, is detoxification is definitely very important. So focus on where you guys, each one of you is in your detox programs, or wherever you are, because this stuff is really, really important. Taking care of endocrine disruptors, taking care of toxins, taking care of our health at every point is just very crucial. So does anyone have any questions about detox right now or anything else? Okay, so what we're going to do after this is we'll be sending out an email of the recording of the session, and we'll send out you can reply to that, or you can email us separately if you have your own individual questions. We'll also put together the recommendations that we were making, and hopefully you guys will get that email early next week. We have to sit down and work on it. So, all right, any questions, guys? So thank you for joining. Anything to say?
Thank
We
you.
will see you in your appointments pretty soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.